right, good evening and welcome everyone to today's U City Council meeting. Today's date is July 16th, 2024. It is now 6 p.m. If we could go ahead and please begin with roll.
Mosley,
Present.
Guest, Wellington,
Present.
Campbell,
Present.
Tovar Contreras.
Present.
Let us please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance and prayer.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Reverend Michael Job with the prayer.
Dear gracious Heavenly Father, we thank you for the opportunity to gather this evening, Father God, and we just thank you for those in which that volunteer within our community and those in which have stepped forward to help make this community a better place. We ask and pray that you be upon this Youth City Council as they begin to discuss the agenda, oh Heavenly Father, guide them and lead them, Father God, and those in which that help them, dear Lord God, to put their better self forward, dear Father God. Now we thank you and bless this meeting. These and many blessings we ask and pray in Jesus Christ's name. Amen.
Next, the welcome by our president.
Like I said, thank you everyone for for tuning in and participating in today's session. Today's our 6th meeting. I know last meeting I said it was the 6th, but this is the actual 6th meeting of our Youth City Council sessions of the year. As always, I'm your president, and thank you everyone for supporting us. If you could go ahead and move on to the next item.
Petitions and communications. Oral communications from the audience. Please limit your remarks to 5 minutes and to items not on the agenda.
This is the part of the meeting where we have our live audience participate. So again, please limit your remarks to 5 minutes.
Good evening, council members. Heather Job, Hutchinson, Kansas. I just wanted to get up here quickly and thank you guys for your participation with Juneteenth. You guys came out and helped with our craft table, helped with a lot of the activities that were going on, and we really appreciate you guys did an outstanding job. We appreciate you being there. I'm here to ask you for your presence at the next event, Bridge Builders Barbecue. I know all of you are aware of it. It is coming up next Thursday. That is the event that the NAACP youth partner with HPD every year for a community picnic. The officers and our youth do team building events and really have a lot of fun. It's kind of grown into just a really great time. But we're hoping that you guys can make it out and help us out with that event also and just have a good time. And ask if you have any questions about the event, now's the time to ask.
What time would you like us to be there?
5.
What day is the event?
It's next Thursday, July 25th. It's at the Home Builders Building in the park.
Thank you so much for letting us know about the event. I know some of us have had a heads up about the event as well, but it's always so great to see the community go together. And like you said, it's wonderful to see the youth interacting with the Hutchinson Police Department. So thank you so much for the invite.
Thank you.
Good evening, Youth City Council members. My name is Esmeralda Tovar Mora, Hutchinson, Kansas. I just wanted to bring up 2 additional community events coming up, as well as the Bridge Builders. Thank you, Heather. We've got Talk 20 Hutch coming up. It will be July 26th at 7 p.m. at the Hutchinson Public Library. If you don't know what Talk 20 Hutch is, it is 10 community members who have and bring a vast knowledge of experience from life after a coma, cheese making, Daryl Pope. Those are just a couple of topics. And it is 20 slides, and each speaker gets 20 seconds per slide to discuss it and come up with a whole vision for those presentations. So that is coming up. The doors open at 6:30 at the library, and seating will be available for 250 people. I know that the NAACP youth were a part of it last year. We have fellow Michael Glenn and Gina Long with the Hutchinson Tribune a part of that. Andrew Davidson, Taryn Borders-Hogg, Lucy Hernandez, Jolie Washigay, Deshauna Mahoney, Kathy Moore, Aubrey Abbott Patterson, and Dakota Sanders presenting. Lastly, I will just bring up Hutchin Harmony's Story Saturdays, the last Saturday of every month at Crow & Co. at 2 p.m. We will be doing a children's read aloud book of Opal Lee by Alice Faye Duncan. That is all I've got.
Thank you so much. Any further communications? Okay, fantastic. If you could go ahead and move on to the next item.
Item 5, business items. Item 5A, presentation by the City of Hutchinson.
Good evening, Council. Matt Williams, Director of Community Development. It's my understanding we are giving little updates on kind of what our departments do and kind of an overview. So the Community Development Department consists of 2 different divisions. One is the Planning and Zoning Division, and the other is the Building and Neighborhood Services Division. So I just wanted to give you kind of some background on what those are. Planning and Zoning is responsible for kind of looking at the city into the future and kind of imagining what the city could be and putting plans in place for how to get there. So we've got 3 different groups within that division. There's 3 different topics: current plans, advanced plans, and historic preservation. So current plans, that deals with zoning and zoning enforcement. So if you can imagine, the city is divided into different zoning districts all over the city. So everywhere that we live, or the city hall or businesses, is all zoned something different. So we've got commercial zoning, residential zoning, industrial zoning, and really that is put in place to, protect the community, to make sure that your house doesn't have a factory going next door, different things like that. Where it gets tricky is when people want to do something maybe their property is not zoned for already. So if you think about maybe an empty lot in your neighborhood, or kind of an area maybe more on a major road as compared to right in the middle of the neighborhood, maybe somebody wants to put a restaurant there or a business, but it might be zoned residential, so they have to go through a process to rezone that. And that process would be turning in an application, and staff reviews that, looks at how it would impact the neighborhood, how it would impact the community, and then we make a recommendation to Planning Commission, which is a commission similar to what you all sit on. They review that information, they hear from the public, they hear from any neighbors that may be opposed to it or support it, and then they make a determination, and then that eventually goes to City Council for them to make the final determination. Other things, we deal with zoning enforcement. So if there's various zoning code rules and maybe somebody's not following that, then we have to get into that enforcement aspect of it. We also do advanced plans, so that is our long-range comprehensive plan. So we've got a long-range comprehensive plan for the city that, takes a look at future population trends, where the long-range growth of the community is going to be. Are we going to be growing in the north or in the south? Taking that into consideration when we, look at where our infrastructure is going to be built, different things like that. The downtown master plan, if you guys have heard about that at all, that's something that the community just went through a large effort to look at, where we kind of envisioned downtown for the next 20 years, and we looked at, okay, what do we need to do to make it better? Do we need to maybe do different things on the streets? Do we need to have different initiatives, different programming? So kind of getting the public's input on that, putting it in a plan, and then that way the city staff and partners outside the city can start going about doing that work to hopefully make, downtown and the community better. Historic preservation, that's where we've got, lots of buildings in town that are on the historic on the historic register, the list of buildings. We have that in place because, once a building's gone, we never get it back, and there's a lot of history in those buildings and interesting architecture, and it, helps with the beauty of our city. So it's important to preserve some of those landmarks, and so we review different items that come up before us. Maybe if somebody's going to do work on a building, we make sure that it remains historic in nature. And then our other division is the Building and Neighborhood Services Division. So that's permitting, inspections, and code enforcement. So if you can imagine the new Hilton Garden Inn Hotel, they want to build a new hotel. A lot of different work's going on there. They're doing electric work, plumbing work, building work, multiple levels. So we have inspectors that, when they come in and they get building permits, our inspectors go out and make sure the work is done appropriately, to make sure that they check all the wiring, the plumbing, make sure that it's built correctly, that it has engineered drawings. And that's basically just to make sure that, all of our buildings in town remain safe for the public to live and work and shop in. And then we have code enforcement. So the city has lots of rules about, maintaining your property, maintaining your grass. Tall grass and weeds is one big complaint that we often get. Tall grass and weeds can lead to different animals, living in your yard if you've got tall grass, and that can impact your neighboring properties, and then it's also just maybe unsightly in certain areas. So we've got code enforcement that goes out there to look at issues like that. If your house is falling down or different things like that, you may also get a code violation. So really just trying to make sure that the community stays a safe and attractive place for people to live. So that's kind of the two divisions in my department. Do you guys have any questions about any of that?
You mentioned the master plan, correct?
Yes.
Do you mind telling us more about what is entailed in the master plan?
In the downtown master plan?
Yes.
Yeah, so the downtown master plan really looks at downtown for maybe the next 10 or 20 years. We had a plan in the early 2000s that was put together, and a lot of the streetscaping downtown that you see is a result of that. So, a lot of planting downtown, the angled parking along the side of the street, trying to get it to be more of a place where you go to as opposed to a place you just pass through. So those are some, wins from the last plan. This plan talks a lot about, improving upon that and, continuing the momentum. One idea in there is to add a new park downtown. Another idea is, revitalizing Memorial Hall just over here, making sure that it has AC and, different modern requirements so that that building gets used more. And then potentially having a festival street in front of it. So, there's a street in front of it now, but making that more so you could close it off and you could host large events that could be inside, outside, where cars don't get through. There's ideas for kind of where there's the art building on the west side of downtown, to have maybe kind of an art walk, like an alleyway that there's art on the walls. There's art on the walls that you can walk through to get there, making it more pedestrian friendly, places to walk to, initiatives to try to get businesses to stay open later, so that when you go downtown in the evening, you know that businesses are going to be there and available to go into. There's the landmark property downtown that's being converted into apartments. So that's one of the goals in the plan, is to help support that project to get more people living in downtown, because if more people live downtown, there'll be more restaurants and shopping downtown to support those people, but also everybody else who wants to go downtown. So lots of projects like that. And we've got a technical committee that is made up of people here at the city, people who live downtown, people who work in other community organizations that are trying to manage that work and try to make it come to fruition.
I have a quick question about the downtown master plan. Why doesn't the downtown master plan go south of Main Street? Can you tell us about why not?
Well, I wasn't actually here when that decision was made, but my understanding is, there were just Main Street, goes south to Cary Park. It goes all the way up to 30th and further north. Well, not further north, but we couldn't take a bite off the whole chunk. We had to narrow it down. So that's the area that they wanted to focus on. It doesn't mean that the city's not going to continue to do things, south of where the plan is. It's just a centralized focus on that area, trying not to spread ourselves too thin, I think. You know, one thing that's unique about Hutchinson is that for a town our size, our downtown area, the area that you would consider downtown, is very, very large. You know, we've got Main that goes all the way down south, but then we've got, you know, side streets on both sides of that. That it's quite a large area that is probably going to be difficult to fill all of that with businesses that support a community of our size. So I think that, you know, the area south, just north of Cary Park that you talked about, is definitely a focus area of ours. I know next year we have ideas to do a plan specifically for that area and kind of around Cary Park, because it's such a great area near a great community asset. Cary Park is awesome, and it's close to downtown. It's, you know, so maybe that area looks, you know, it's not that it would look different, but just that it maybe has a different vibe than the core downtown. Maybe it could be redeveloped in a different way, maybe a little bit less dense, but still maintaining the awesome buildings that are there, because the bones of those buildings are hard to get back if you lose them. So definitely needs to be a focus.
What was the hardest part about making the master plan?
Let's see. The hardest part for making any master plan is really, you know, you go out to the community and you ask people what they want, and you hear everything, but then you have to somehow distill it down into a document that, you know, is supported by the community. So the goal in that would be to have kind of a steering committee made up of residents and, you know, different people that represent different areas of town, maybe business owners or residents or things like that. And then for them to try to hear from the community. So we had in listening sessions at Memorial Hall and various other places. They play, you know, an online survey that you could fill out, and trying to get all of that information in and trying to distill it down to a singular vision is impossible. But you try to do the best you can and try to put a plan together that is going to represent the voices that you heard. I guess maybe the hardest part is making progress on the plan when you put it together. I always tell people that the only guaranteed thing is that everything in the plan will not come true, because it's just a plan. Things change constantly. You know, priorities change, people change, the economy changes, everything changes. So it's just a guide that's meant to change as time goes on, but hopefully at least points you in the right direction.
What has been the most exciting part putting this all together?
The most exciting part is just getting people to come together with a singular vision, so that you don't have just a bunch of separate groups pointing in different directions. You know, somebody's trying to focus on this, somebody else is trying to focus on this. It's nice to get something where everybody can rally behind and, you know, realize one singular goal.
Just a follow-up question on what you previously said about getting people to participate, like kind of like surveys and stuff at Memorial Hall in order to get more information on the master plan. How did you guys manage to work the youth into developments like the master plan? I
was not here when this plan was developed, so I've been kind of speaking just generically, so I don't know specifically about the youth for the downtown plan. But what I've done in the past is reached out to high school groups, trying to make sure that the survey is being given out maybe in schools to try to get their opinion. Also doing focus groups is really helpful. So sometimes we do, like we're doing a different department's doing a housing study right now, trying to figure out how housing should look in the future in Hutchinson. And they just went through a process of focus groups where maybe they had 6 focus groups, and one was focused on business owners, another was focused on just residents, but one could specifically be focused on the youth, because it's nice when you get the groups separated out like that, because you start hearing something specific to that group that maybe you wouldn't have heard if everybody was brought together in one large group. So I've done focus groups before with youth where you hear things like, oh, what are, you know, what is the youth in the community wanting in the next 20 years in order for them to want to stay in Hutchinson and participate.
What are some of the things in which that you got in the works for preservation for historical buildings and whatnot?
What are some of the things in the works? So I believe once a building is 50 years old, it's eligible to be put on a registry. So if someone wants to put their building on the registry, they can basically apply through the State Historic Preservation Office and try to get it registered. And you have to prove that there's something historical about it. Not everything is going to apply. So that's how that process works. And then once it's on the historic registry, or the historic register, you're eligible for certain tax incentives, because once you're on the register, you have to, when you maintain it and when you update it, you have to meet certain guidelines so that it maintains its historic character, which can be more expensive because maybe it's more expensive windows than you were hoping to put, or different things like that. And so you're eligible for tax credits so that the money you put into it, you can get back on a tax credit. Downtown, we've got a few historic districts, so not every building is itself registered on the list, but we have a district as a whole, so that most of the buildings within there can be eligible for those historic tax credits.
And can you quickly explain to us about how See-Click-Fix works?
Yes, See-Click-Fix is, and it's on our website, and I believe there's an app where you can, if you notice something in the city, you can go in there and basically put it on a map, and basically it'll tell the city, hey, something needs to be known. So if maybe you're on the street and you notice a pothole, you can put that on there, and that notifies the city, who maybe doesn't drive that street every day, that there's a pothole and we need to get fixed. But it could be other things. If someone put a sofa on the side of the street and it's just been sitting there for 3 days, you can put that on there so that we get our code compliance person out there to get that resolved. You can do that with zoning issues, code compliance issues, street issues, a whole bunch of different things like that.
How do you equitably enforce code violations? So, like, I'm thinking of the windstorm that occurred. I know there's still people that are struggling to get limbs off of their property, or getting an idea of like how to even manage discussing getting that off of their property. So how does that communication work with the city?
Well, specifically for the wind damage, if you have a bunch of limbs on your property, a tree's fallen over it, that's a code violation. But when something like this big windstorm happens, we understand that impacts the whole city at once. People can't get all that cleaned up right away. There are people that just don't have the means to do that. So we basically, I think there was a month and a half where we weren't enforcing those rules at all, just to give people time to take it to dump sites or get it cleaned up. But eventually we do have to start enforcing that. And I know there's been various programs in the city and with partners that, they've gotten a list of volunteers together that if you need help and you're unable maybe to pay to get somebody to remove the limbs or to take care of it yourself, that you can ask one of these volunteers to help you. But really, one of the unsung things about the city is our staff do a great job of, we're not after people to get people. If there's an issue, we try to connect people with the resources. If we go to find somebody that has something wrong with their house or a limb down or whatever it may be, we try to find people that can help them, connect them to the resources before we send them a letter. If we send them a letter, we give them, a few weeks to get it resolved. So we try to do everything we can to give people time. And the way our zoning enforcement works is it's primarily complaint-based, so we're not driving up and down the streets to find issues wrong with people. If a complaint has come to us, it's usually because somebody in the neighborhood has reported it because they are trying to make the city better.
I'm going to go ahead and go back to the surveys about the master plan and stuff. How is it at all difficult to get people to participate in those surveys or talks in general and just getting their input?
Yeah, it's always hard to get people to come out to a meeting that you host. Not everybody wants to attend another meeting. Surveys are a little bit easier because people can do it from their home, they can do it on their phone quickly, but even that, it's how do you get people to take it? How do you let them know it's out there? How do you get them to take the time? So it can be difficult, but that's why we try to reach people at all sorts of different things with meetings and surveys and letting them know on the radio and at meetings like this. Yeah.
Is there programs out there that the city provides to help, like the elderly, get help fixing their homes?
Not at the city, but there are other organizations that we partner with maybe, and we'll give that information out. Yeah, we've got some of that on our website.
What made you want to be a part of the community? The director of community department. I'm having a seizure over here. I'm so sorry. The director of community development.
Well, I went to school to be an urban planner. I was always just interested in how cities develop. If they're building a new development on the side of town, I was always interested in, what kind of houses are they going to be, or what restaurants are going to be there. I was just always interested in that, and ask people, well, who gets to decide where things go and how they get built. That's not what I get to do, but at least I get to be part of the conversations. That's what I find interesting.
Well, thank you so much for your time. Thank
Yeah.
you for coming out to us, explaining everything. I know we had lots of questions that we finally had answers to.
Yeah.
We were super pumped to find out that you were coming to talk to
Good.
us. So
All
again, thank you guys.
Well, thank you for what you guys do. You guys have a good night.
You too. Thank you. Two of you. If we could go ahead and move on to the next item, please.
Item 5B, the drive for the unhoused has been scheduled for Saturday, July 27th from 11 to 2 p.m. at Avenue A Park Building. Please see our Facebook page for a list of items needed.
So we have been advertising our drive for a little bit more than, I want to say a little bit over 3 weeks. I want to say that we've been advertising our drive. I want to give a little bit of an update. We've been saying how every 5 items a person brings in for the drive will have a chance to enter into a raffle, and those prizes have now been updated. So now that will include some certificates from Holly's Sweet Treats, a gift card to Crow & Co. here in downtown, and again, that also includes a gift card to Elisa Soaps, which is an online store.
So again, we've been kind of trying to push it out to the community and pushing it on our socials. But if you have anything you can donate or just spreading it, friends, family, that'd be greatly appreciated. And yeah.
Do we have any further comments? We will once again be advertising the drive at Third Thursday, so come out and see us. Okay. Any further comments?
I just have one. So for the unhoused drive, it will be to support the unhoused shelter and Lighthouse. It's a program through Interfaith Housing that helps young adults who are unhoused to kind of gain some stability and have accountability with like a peer mentor to be able to go through the process to have their own place and work towards stability. So thank you so much to the Youth City Council for doing this. I know that there's a lot of people that will be super grateful.
Thank you. I know we kind of needed a clarification of what we were going to do with the proceeds that we received from it, so thank you for clarifying.
Yeah.
Okay. Hearing no further comments, can we go ahead and move on to the next item?
Item 5C, a Cow Creek Community Cleanup date has been set for Saturday, August 10th at 8 a.m. We will meet at George Powell Park and break into teams. Message us to get your group signed up. We will also have a sign-up form on our Facebook page.
Just for my friends, including me, who aren't really good with directions, do you mind telling us like the general area of where George Powell Park is?
Yeah, so George Powell Park is, do you know where Memorial Hall is?
Yes.
Right across this way. I'm
Okay.
really bad with directions too. Clearly, it's genetics. So right across the street where that gazebo is, that's George Powell Park.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you for clarifying.
No problem.
I guess it is a genetic thing.
Be in Walnut.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you to our amazing board who are apparently good with directions. Okay. Do we have any questions about the Cow Creek cleanup?
Not necessarily a question, but something to state. If you can't participate, another good way is to just push it on your social medias, ask friends, family to see who can volunteer. And if you maybe don't know a lot about this, it's a little later on in the meeting, but we will be on at Third Thursday if you have any questions.
I have a question. So when does the sign up end for the cleanup?
You mean like when the sign up closes?
Yeah.
I don't. When we're done with the cleanup, so you'll know it's too late when August 10th has passed. But just an FYI, that's out there. That also works too. The more the merrier. We also talked about this during the previous council session, but it was actually Councilmember Mackenzie's idea because, again, we want to make sure that Hutch is not just a good place to live, but a safe place to live. And that includes with bringing attention to, hey, maybe this area needs a little bit of love because this is where a majority of the young kids, including myself when I was younger, though I'm technically still a kid, it's where I used to hang out all the time. Some great memories were made there, and I just hope that we can keep making that place just safe and more, I'm losing my words here, but to be able to produce the same amount of good memories that I had as a kid and making sure every kid out there has the same opportunity as I did.
Another little thing for Cow Creek cleanup, if you are coming, some supplies that you might want to bring. Some supplies that you might want to bring are stuff like gloves, trash bags, nets. And it's probably going to be really hot because, again, that is in August, so maybe we're like, yeah, bring a lot of water. And, like, hats and sunglasses so you're not, like, overheating, and don't forget sunscreen.
I know we have been reaching out to some fellow youth groups and just community organizations here in Hutch. We will have a list of those who we know are participating later on. When the date is closer, you'll see it on our social media. Again, the sign-up's on there as well. We'll be advertising there on Third Thursday. Do we have any additional statements, comments, questions, or concerns to add? No? Okay, fantastic. Next item, please.
Item 5D, participation in Third Thursday has been scheduled for this month's Third Thursday. We will be out sharing who we are, what we do, and how to get involved.
If you are interested with anything we're doing or don't have social medias or maybe just have some questions for us, we will be at Third Thursday, like I said before. We will have flyers and the answers to all of your questions. So
Maybe not all your questions, like
Yeah.
maybe not if you need help with math or something, but we will be there and we'll
About the
answer all the
subject.
about the U City Council, any of the initiatives that we are having. But as always, feel free to stop and talk to us. We're really not that scary, I promise you. And we just love to get to know people in our community. If you could go ahead and move on to the next item, please.
Of course. Item 5E, Hutchinson Community Foundation's Love Where You Live Community Empowerment Initiative. This is an online survey, and they are striving to reach 20% of responses from our youth.
So I recently took the survey, and it's just basically asking people what you want to see the direction. Let me rephrase that. It's asking the community what they want to see in the future, and it's asking input from the youth. It's like asking what areas do you think we need to improve on? Do you have any recommendations, or do you have any ideas that will make Hutch a funner isn't a word, is it?
Improve community initiatives, community-led initiatives.
Yeah, that works too. Don't take English lessons from me. However, it's just a general survey that you should definitely take. As mentioned, they are striving to reach 20% of the youth for responses. But
I believe there is a video presentation by Sarah Blake
okay.
From the Community Foundation.
Okay. Oh, 2 presentations. I'm excited.
About an effort that the Community Foundation is spurring that's called the Love Where You Live Empowerment Initiative. Community.
There you go. Sorry about that.
Hey, Hutchinson Youth City Council. This is Sarah Blake. I'm the program officer at Hutchinson Community Foundation. And I wanted to make sure that you knew about an effort that the Community Foundation is spurring that's called the Love Where You Live Empowerment Initiative, Community Empowerment Initiative. And what that involves is actually 3 years worth of commitment to gathering data that where folks from all over Reno County can share their impressions and their feelings about the communities that they live in, whether that's Hutchinson itself or one of the other communities like Plevna or Haven or Nickerson, Bueller, throughout the county. So the effort starts out with gathering data through a survey that you may have seen on social media already, or I'm guessing that some of you saw it down at the farmers market, because I know a lot of you also volunteer down there for NAACP Youth. So you may have already encountered the survey yourselves, but we are asking some of the folks in the community, the entities in the community, to partner with us and help spread the word about the survey and this effort to help engage community members in their own towns. So what we would like to do is ask you to share the link to the survey with friends of yours, other youth organizations that you're engaged with, the people that are involved in those. And it doesn't just have to be youth. You can also share it with adults in your community, in your neighborhood, and anyone that you are willing to push the survey to. We have paper copies available that I can bring to you if you want paper copies, but the easiest way is emailing the link to the survey with a little note explaining why you hope people will take it. The other part of the effort comes after we receive all the data back from the surveys, and at that time we're going to have community meetings, gatherings, where, say, out in Arlington or in Haven and various places throughout Hutchinson at various times, because we know we won't get everyone at once. We're going to have opportunities to come together and learn about what the data showed. What are the overall impressions of the community, and what are some of the goals that are rising to the top that people have in common. And then we're going to, as the Community Foundation, we have access to grant funds. And so the next step after identifying what some things are that the community wants to work on, each community, we're going to offer an opportunity to apply for grant funding to get some of those projects started. So if you're wanting to explain to others what the survey is good for, why am I bothering, That's what it's good for. Identifying people who are ready to help work on their issues and projects in their community, and giving them some support to do that. So that's a kind of a short version of it. It goes on for 3 years, so we're going to be doing the survey again next year and the year after that to gauge progress and hopefully improvement on people's perceptions of their community. So along with this video, I've also sent a copy of a flyer that we have that has the QR code that links to the survey, as well as a link to the survey itself here in the email that I'm sending you. If you have a need for me to come and talk to other organizations, or if you want to just share this video, that's perfectly fine. And any questions can come to me at my email address, or you can call the Community Foundation at 620-663-5293. We really appreciate your help, and we value the work that you're doing as youth leaders in our community, and we also value any efforts that you would be willing to make as leaders to help connect us to more younger folks and people from your parts of the community. Thanks so much. Have a great day.
Thank you, Community Foundation, for the video. It was very informative. I'm going to ask our board, is there any way we can possibly publish the link on our social medias? We'll go ahead and do that after our meeting or within the following days. That was it. Okay, do we have any questions regarding the video or?
You can go first.
I feel like it would be amazing if we could get 20% of the youth to do the survey.
I have a question. Does anyone know how long the survey is going to be?
It's about 10 minutes.
Like how spread out it's going to be? Like, when is the due date?
Oh, yes. No problem. So you know how Sarah talked about it being a 4-step process? It starts with a community survey that will be the 21st, started June 21st until August 4th. That August 4th date is really, really big to be able to move into the community engagement piece afterwards. That community gathering piece will be from September through October in Reno County. And then from October through December, residents and organizations can collaborate together to create projects that address those priorities that a lot of you, when you take the survey, you'll be able to discuss. But the cool thing about that is that those projects can range from things you want to see improved in your neighborhood, in your city, in Hutchinson, or in the county. So you can aspire to have a big community project coming up, and those grants go from $5,000 to $25,000. So it's really important to have that representation of youth, especially in projects like this. We just had a presentation from the city that talked about community development, including youth in that is really, really important. So having your voice heard is a very big piece of this survey. We just have to make sure that we get that word out as well.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I'm personally looking forward to taking this survey because I've been living here all my life, and there are quite a few things I would like to see changed in Hutchinson. So I can't wait to be a part of this and see what they end up doing with our community.
I will just add that it is available in English and Spanish, and you will have copies of it for their Thursday as well.
Well, that's what I was going to lead into. If it was possible for us to get copies so we could advertise it at their Thursday, but you just answered my question, so thank you. Mind reader. So like I previously mentioned, I did take the survey, and okay, I'm a little bit of a geek when it comes to surveys, I'll admit it. However, it was very nice for the survey to offer so many options and so many chances to give your own input, because it really feels like your voice does matter. And I know for a lot of us that's so important, especially on the youth city council, because we strive to make sure every youth voice could be heard, or just to even represent that voice. So it's very important for us.
And I know that you'll probably geek out about this, but they'll be able to quantify the data, and you'll have a whole presentation about that every year to see how people responded to it, and different ethnicities, different neighborhoods, different zip codes, like all of that is included. So I just knew you would love that.
For those
so
of you
I'm
who
excited
can't
that they did that.
For those of you who can't see the smile on my face right now. But do we have any other things we want to add to that? Okay, fantastic. If you could go ahead and move on to the next item.
Item 6, closing remarks by the youth city council members.
Yes, so the library will be hosting an author talk. It's called Nothing Great is Easily Won. It's the Solomon Butler story. It's going to be on Wednesday, July 24th at 6 p.m. at the library. I should have mentioned that. And on the description, it says, Solomon Butler was a former Hutchinson High School student and athlete. He went on to attend Dubois University, I probably butchered that, and competed in the 1919 Inter-Allied Games, a military substitute for the canceled Olympics. He was the second black quarterback in the NFL, started men's and women's basketball teams, and toured the countries playing football, basketball, and baseball. That was just part of the summary. Again, that's on Wednesday, July 24th at the library.
I just like I do every meeting, thank everybody for coming out, or even just watching us every meeting. If you do have any questions or you're interested, you can go to our Facebook or come to Third Thursday this week. We've been really trying to push Third Thursday because that's where we seem to meet a lot of people that are interested, that's never heard of us. And I would also like to give the Community Development Director a thank you for coming out and answering our questions.
I'd like to thank everybody that's here and who will be watching the video. I don't think I have anything to say about anything that's coming up.
Just want to thank you for those who are watching and those that came out tonight for viewing or coming out to this YCC meeting.
Do we have any further comments? Okay. Thank you everyone for watching, those on the live, those in the audience, including our lovely board for answering our questions whenever they come up. Special thank you to Matt Williams, the director, who came out and spent some time with us. It was very informative. I'd like to thank the Community Foundation for sending us the video. Again, I like presentations. It's fine. But thank you for letting us know about the survey. Again, everyone watching, go take the survey. It won't take that long, and feel free to talk to us or stop by and ask questions at Third Thursday. I believe that is it. So, is there a motion to adjourn?
I motion to adjourn.
I second.
Mosley,
Yes.
Guest, Wellington,
Yes.
Campbell,
Yes.
Tovar Contreras.
Yes.
Thank you so much. Have a good night.